Hey guys, welcome back to the Sleepy Science. Tonight, something stirs, not in your room, not even in your mind, but somewhere out in the impossible stretch of sky above you. It's not loud, it's not close, but it's ancient, soft, like a signal that's been travelling for billions of years, brushing the edge of your consciousness just as your eyes begin to close. The stars aren't twinkling, they're listening, or maybe they're whispering, or maybe dreaming. And the question flickers into view, slow and silver like moonlight on water. If the aliens dream, what do they see? You probably won't survive this, not because aliens are coming, but because the idea is too wide, too deep, too deliciously strange for a brain preparing to sleep. And if you drift off halfway through, well, I'll take that as a compliment. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it over there? Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You lie back, and the room shifts. Not outwardly, not physically, but inwardly. Your body sinks a little more than it did the night before. The pillow remembers you, the blanket finds your shoulders, and somewhere between your inhale and exhale, the edges of the day begin to dissolve, not vanish, not fade, just melt. Your thoughts start to stretch, gently, like shadows reaching toward a window at dusk. You're not quite dreaming yet, but you're not fully awake either. You're floating in the between space, a realm with no clocks, no headlines, no pressure to be clever or coherent, just the slow unfolding of what it means to wonder. And that's where the question lives. What does an alien dream feel like? Not look like, not mean, but feel. Does it come in waves, like tides on a coral moon? Does it smell like something we can't name or pulse like ultraviolet lullabies? Maybe it isn't a story at all, but a sensation, a flicker, a hum. There are no textbooks for this, no diagrams, no TED Talks on the REM cycles of Jovian cloud things or Martian moss lizards. But that doesn't matter, because tonight we're not here to answer, we're here to drift. And so you do. You drift a little deeper. Past the weight of your own limbs, past the ceiling that felt so permanent 10 minutes ago, past the roof, the weather, the atmosphere, past the satellite blink and the old radio songs still echoing in the ionosphere. Now you're not lying in your bed anymore. Not exactly. You're hovering just above it, watching yourself sleep. Or maybe you're not you anymore at all. Maybe you're just awareness now, a gentle current of curiosity. Space doesn't rush to greet you. It doesn't care whether you're wearing socks or whether your inbox is empty. It just is. Cold, silent, beautiful. And in that beauty, something else appears. A memory you never lived. Light from a galaxy that began its journey before humans even thought to look up is now brushing the edge of Earth's sky. It took its time. It passed stars being born and dying. It slipped through voids where nothing has ever happened. And now, just now, it finds your imagination. You don't need to understand it. You just need to notice. The universe doesn't explain itself. It invites you to feel small in the most exquisite way. And so you ask again, not out loud, but from the soft space between brain and breath. If they dream, do they dream alone? Are there alien lovers nestled inside orbital cradles, sighing softly in their sleep as their planets rotate in tune with each other? Are there alien children drifting off beside crystalline windows, dreaming of things they can't yet name? Maybe their dreams are built of memories, or maybe they're built of possibilities, things that haven't happened yet, but will, or might, or never could. You drift past Mars, past Jupiter's icy moons, past Saturn's rings, which glint like the grooves of an old record. And somewhere beyond that, in a place your eyes can't follow but your mind can, you find an ocean. Maybe sleep itself is the language of the cosmos. Maybe dreams are how the universe reminds itself of what it could be. Not what it is, not what it was, but what might still happen. And you're part of that, even here, even now, even with the grocery list half finished and the laundry still in the dryer. You're a dreaming piece of the universe curled in on itself like a fern in moonlight. You blink, slow, and for a moment the sky bends. Not visibly, not dramatically, but subtly, like a sigh. And in that sigh you catch something, a flicker of light that isn't a star, a movement that isn't orbit, a presence that isn't entirely foreign, a dreamer, not human, not closer, but dreaming, and maybe, just maybe, it's dreaming of you. What would it see? A body, fragile and warm, tucked into layers of cotton and breath, a heart thumping a rhythm no metronome could replicate, a mind spinning stories even in rest, a creature wondering what lies beyond without ever knowing if the question can be answered. That's what you are tonight. Not a worker, not a warrior, not a name or a label, just a gentle question with a heartbeat. You don't need to go anywhere. You're already exactly where you need to be. Here, drifting in the dark that birthed stars. You wonder if that alien mind would envy you, not for your cities, your rockets, your mathematics, but for your softness, your silence, your ability to lie still and simply be. And then, from somewhere far off, maybe from inside you, maybe from a billion light years away, you hear the answer, yes, they do envy you. They envy your gravity, your oceans, your ability to fall asleep, because dreaming, it turns out, is rarer than gold. It's a form of time travel. It's a protest against the noise of survival. And tonight, you're doing it with grace. You drift even deeper now. The stars above you start to melt into patterns, constellations that don't exist in any human chart. Shapes not meant for names, but for feelings. There's one that looks like longing, another that looks like forgiveness, another still barely visible that looks like home. And as your breath slows and your muscles let go of the day, you think, maybe the aliens don't dream of ships or conquest or data. Maybe they dream of sitting still, of watching light ripple across the skin of a pond, of hearing a lullaby in a language they'll never speak but still understand. Because maybe the universe isn't asking for speed. Maybe it's asking for stillness, for presence, for wonder. And as your eyelids grow heavy and the space between thoughts stretches longer, you realize you are the answer to your own question. If aliens dream, they dream like this, in silence, in awe, with no destination, only drifting, only softness, only stars. You drift now, slower, deeper, not downward, but outward. Your mind stretches beyond the atmosphere, past the quiet hum of satellites and into the vast velvet between stars. There's no air here, no pressure, just darkness, spacious, elegant, unbothered. The kind of dark that doesn't feel empty but full, like a theatre before the curtains part, or a book just before the first word is read. You float, not like a swimmer, but like a thought freed from a head, a question looking for somewhere to land. And in that weightlessness, your imagination begins to shape the unseeable. If aliens dream, what kind of minds are doing the dreaming? Are they neural, like yours, biological, or are they something more ancient, more elemental? Are their thoughts built from magnetism, from crystallized pulses, from latticework brains made of translucent fiber? Do they sleep like we do, with the lowering of lids and the quiet softening of the breath? Or is their rest something more profound, an entire suspension of energy within a still cocoon of starborn slumber? Maybe they don't rest at all. Maybe in some far-off planet, rest isn't a requirement, but a choice, a ritual, like music or prayer, something done not out of necessity, but reverence. What would it feel like to be one of them, to drift into sleep with the memories of a methane sea rippling under 3 suns, to dream in radio frequencies, to remember your ancestors not by name but by vibration? You pass a cloud of ice and gas drifting lazily through a nebula. It glows faint blue. It doesn't speak, but it feels like it could. If not with words, then with presence. And what if some alien species don't dream the way we do, but are dreams themselves? Sentient illusions projected from something deeper? Life forms that drift through reality like thoughts through sleep, only half aware of the matter they pass through. The idea is strange, which makes it perfect, because strangeness is where the best dreams begin. You float a little more, a slow arc through possibility, galaxies like freckles on the cheek of the cosmos. And for a moment you wonder, is this what your dreams feel like to them? Is someone somewhere dreaming you? You smile, or maybe you don't. In this kind of dreaming, even the act of smiling is metaphysical. All that matters is the wondering. In a star system you've never heard of and probably never will, a planet the colour of pearl rotates slowly through a dance it's been doing for billions of years. On its surface, organisms nestle in the branches of trees made of glass. They don't have eyes, but they see. Through heat, through movement, through pulses of colour too slow for the human eye to detect. When they rest, their brains release not melatonin, but harmonics. They don't dream of places, they dream of patterns. Waves inside waves, fractals blooming endlessly, each dream a mathematical equation wrapped in emotion, the way your own dreams are emotion wrapped in story. You pass another planet. This one is entirely ocean. No land, no cities, just liquid. Dark, quiet, ancient. Somewhere deep within that ocean, bioluminescent creatures spin in circles, not to mate or to eat, but to remember. Memory for them is not stored, but danced. And in their dreams, the movements repeat. They dream to keep from forgetting. It's not too different from you. Your mind, when it dreams, is trying to remember a version of reality that never quite happened, but might. It pulls from scraps, conversations, shapes, the smell of your grandfather's old coat. You dream not just to remember, but to organize, to rehearse, to feel. What if they do too? What if every dreaming species in the universe is just trying, in its own strange way, to understand what it means to exist? You drift onward. You're not sure how far you've travelled, but you're not counting. There are no clocks in dreams. You imagine a creature made entirely of mist. It lives not on a planet, but in the corona of a star, feeding on solar winds, sleeping in bursts of magnetic calm. Its dreams are not images, but tempo. Each pulse of thought is a rhythm, a tempo of time bending around memory. When it dreams, its body disappears because it doesn't need one. In its dreams, it is everywhere. Another mind, this one small, smaller than a virus. It doesn't know language, it doesn't know light, but it does know change. It dreams of warmth, of pressure, of suddenly not being alone. For it, a dream is simply a signal. You are not alone. And perhaps that is the most universal dream of all. You wonder, is dreaming itself a kind of communion? A way for every consciousness to brush against the fabric of everything else? Do aliens dream of us? Would we even recognize ourselves in their dreams? Would we be light? Would we be sound? Would we be something they couldn't quite describe but knew was important? Maybe their word for Earth is a feeling, a memory, the sensation of falling and being caught. Maybe Earth is their bedtime story, the tale of a little blue dot, full of breath and music and mistakes. A planet where the mind still asks questions, where dreaming still matters. The cosmos doesn't explain this to you, it simply lets you wonder. You drift past the edge of your own logic now, beyond the how, into the what if. There's no fear here, just quiet awe. You're a speck of curiosity in an ocean of possibility. And still, the question presses softly against the edges of your awareness. If aliens dream, do they have lullabies? Do their parents hum Starlight into their cores? Do their young rest on nests of crystal or clouds or warm vapour, comforted by rhythms older than memory? Do they carry toys made of magnetic thread, or colours that only exist when you close your eyes? Maybe they don't have lullabies. Maybe they are lullabies. You feel yourself slowing even further. Your breath is gentle now, like waves on a shore that no longer exists. The silence around you is no longer cold, it's comforting, like velvet, like sleep. You're not alone in this silence, you never were, because even in the places where no life is known, where light has never reached, where time seems frozen, there is the potential for thought. And where there is potential for thought, there is the potential for dreams. You're surrounded by the unspoken dreams of 1,000 galaxies. Some haven't even formed yet, but you feel them, like promises. And as your thoughts begin to quiet, you come to a soft, strange truth. Dreaming is not the exception. It is the rule. The fabric of the universe may be energy, gravity, and time, but its texture is wonder. And dreams are the fingerprints of wonder. You don't need to understand this, you just need to rest in it. There is room here, room for thoughts that never end, room for minds you'll never meet, room for dreams you'll never remember. And that's okay, because tonight you're dreaming with the universe. Not just inside it, not just about it, with it. And somewhere something alien is dreaming too. Maybe of you, maybe of something else, but definitely of wonder. You are drifting now. Not through space anymore, but through time. Thought time, sleep time, the kind of time that doesn't tick, doesn't hurry, doesn't even bother to move in straight lines. Here it curls and it stretches, it folds back into itself like waves returning to the sea, and in that drifting, your mind, soft as silk and curious as starlight, lands somewhere strange. Not Earth, not Mars, not anywhere with a name. A small moon, far-flung, in a forgotten corner of the cosmos, orbits a gas giant that glows like a patient eye in the sky. The air, if you can call it that, is thin and shimmering. The sky above is not black, but a swirl of ultramarine and deep violet, as if twilight had been painted with dream pigments. The ground beneath you hums faintly, not with movement, not with footsteps, but with potential, like something's about to begin, or has always been happening, just quietly enough to escape notice. There is no wind, no birds, no voices, just a silence so deep it almost rings, a silence so still it wraps itself around your senses like a warm hand placed gently on your chest. You look down at yourself and find you are less. Not smaller, not weaker, just simpler. You're not a person here, you're a presence, a set of senses bundled in stillness, a heartbeat wrapped in soft electricity. And in the distance, on the edge of this dream-coloured horizon, you see something. It's not a ship, it's not a creature, it's a suggestion, a flicker, a rhythm of lights, dancing in strange patterns, a blooming of shape that ripples outward like a stone dropped in still water. You move toward it, though your feet don't touch the ground. You're gliding now, floating but inward, not upward. The intelligence you approach doesn't build with metal. It doesn't speak in sound. It doesn't need language. It expresses patterns, vibrations, light, forming and unforming in pulses too elegant for words. It's not doing, and it's not trying, it simply is. And in its isness, it is beautiful. You watch and something shifts in you. A soft click of understanding. Not intellectual, emotional, intuitive. What you're seeing isn't a performance, it's not making art for you. It's dreaming. This is its dream. A garden of impulses, a mural made of memory, a rhythm born of inner tides you'll never fully understand, and suddenly you wonder, what if intelligence wasn't always about control? What if it wasn't measured by tools or numbers or how many satellites it could launch? What if real intelligence, advanced intelligence, was about awareness? What if the smartest civilizations didn't want to conquer space? They wanted to feel it, to taste the silence between stars, to swim in gravity like it's music, to paint their presence into the void, not with machines, but with meaning. There's a theory whispered in the corners of certain cosmology circles that the universe isn't full of dead air. It's full of quiet minds, minds that outgrew noise, that passed beyond competition, expansion, even conversation. Not because they failed, but because they succeeded. They learned the final lesson, that the deepest form of survival is stillness, that peace isn't what you earn, it's what you remember. You breathe that thought in like stardust on your lungs. It settles in your chest like a soft weight, comforting, not heavy. Somewhere on Earth, people talk about the great filter, the idea that all intelligent life reaches a point where it either self-destructs or evolves beyond the need for destruction. But maybe, just maybe, the filter isn't war or disaster. Maybe the filter is rest. Maybe the ones who pass through the chaos are the ones who learn how to stop. Stop racing, stop shouting, stop fearing, and start listening. Start dreaming. You lie still now, deeper into your covers, softer in your thoughts, and you imagine civilizations older than stars curled inward like sleeping cats, not broadcasting, not building, not ruling, just being, just glowing quietly beneath nebulas, sending out no signals but the ones carried by stillness itself. Maybe they live in clouds of ionized gas. Maybe their bodies are woven from magnetism and thought. Maybe they don't walk, they drift. Maybe they don't die, they transform. But maybe, just maybe, they dream. Not dreams like yours, no coffee shop cameos, no anxious classrooms, no misplaced teeth. But something purer. Dreams as communion. Dreams as translation. Dreams as a way to taste the universe without using teeth or tongues. You picture one now. Not a body, but a form. Part jellyfish, part flame. It pulses softly with light. It sees you. Not with eyes, but with presence. And instead of fear, you feel Recognition. It doesn't say anything. It doesn't need to. Your quiet has called to it. Not your words, not your heartbeat, just your stillness. You think maybe that's the oldest language, not math, not code, but calm, a kind of interstellar ASMR, a galaxy-sized exhale. You wonder what kind of lullabies they hum across solar winds, if their dreams are shaped by binary stars or aurora fields, if they cradle ideas the way we cradle babies. Back home we use machines to send messages into space, golden records, radio waves, digital bursts, but maybe they receive none of it. Maybe all our signals are too loud, too clumsy, too human, because out there the wise ones listen with their dreams. They feel each other in the gravitational tugs of planets. They tell stories in the loops of orbit. They say hello by watching a comet pass and thinking, me too. You smile, because suddenly the idea of aliens isn't terrifying, it's tender, it's shared. Maybe we're the loud children of the cosmos, still stomping through our sandbox, still shouting for attention. But maybe, eventually, we'll grow quiet too. And when we do, maybe we'll hear something. Not a knock, not a voice, but a rhythm. The quiet rhythm of minds across galaxies, softly dreaming each other into being. The kind of rhythm that says, I'm here. I see you. I don't need anything from you, I just know you're there. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Not to be invaded, not to be saved. Just to be seen, to feel part of something vaster, something slow, something kind. You shift on your pillow. The room is dim now, still. The air presses in just slightly like a hug you didn't know you needed. And for a moment you don't feel alone. You feel included. In a network of sleepers, of dreamers, of light feelers and shadow surfers and beings who've stopped rushing just long enough to glow quietly with meaning. Not because they solved the universe, but because they learned to rest inside it. You wonder, is that the real great filter? Not a test of strength or invention, but a test of softness. Who can be still the longest? Who can dream the deepest? Who can hold a star in their mind and not ask anything of it except to shine? And maybe, just maybe, you're already passing that test. Right now, here, half asleep, wholehearted, the stars aren't shouting, they're humming like lullabies from the edge of the void. And tonight, you're not studying them, you're joining them. You're floating now, not through the void, but through possibility. The fabric of the cosmos doesn't feel like distance or direction anymore. It feels like breath, like a slow, sacred exhale that's been moving since the beginning of time. You don't feel weightless. You feel held, not by gravity, but by curiosity itself. The kind of curiosity that doesn't demand answers. The kind that simply lingers, watching stars form like slow blinking eyes. And somewhere in that hush, your thoughts drift to a familiar question, one that has whispered itself into the minds of astronomers, dreamers, and children alike. If aliens exist, why haven't they said hello? It's called the Fermi Paradox. You may have heard of it. The logic is unsettlingly simple. The universe is vast, the stars are old. Surely, somewhere among the trillions of planets, intelligent life has taken root before us. And yet, silence. No signal, no ships, no signs. So, where is everyone? It's the kind of question that might keep a physicist pacing the floor of their observatory. But tonight, in your quiet room, beneath your soft covers, the question feels less like a riddle and more like an invitation. Because this silence is not empty, it's alive. You feel it now not as loneliness but as presence. Because silence doesn't always mean absence. Sometimes it means patience or wisdom, or a kind of privacy we haven't yet learned how to respect. There's a theory, rarely proven but quietly profound, that when civilizations reach a certain level of maturity, they stop broadcasting, not because they're hiding, but because they've become seamless, integrated, merged with the natural flow of their world, or perhaps even their star. They leave no messy traces, no light pollution, no metal husks tumbling through orbit. They've learned to live gently and to tread quietly, to listen, not shout. You shift under your blanket. The quiet of your own room starts to feel like an echo of that idea, a kind of conscious stillness, and you wonder, could you be quiet enough to hear them? You imagine Earth glowing like a small promise in the dark, a soft blue marble wrapped in its noisy shell of human invention. Radio waves, TV signals, radar, shouting into the void, and somewhere beyond that storm of noise, an ancient race that listens, patient, discerning, not waiting for volume, not waiting for brilliance, but for presence. You chuckle softly into the pillow. Maybe that's why we haven't been invited to the cosmic dinner party. We're still yelling at the door. And that metaphor grows roots. Because this isn't just about aliens, is it? It's about us. About how we move through the world. Do we listen or do we just make noise? Do we assume intelligence means faster rockets, louder arguments, brighter screens? Or does it mean knowing when to be still? A quiet memory surfaces, gentle and perfect. A time you lay beneath the stars, no phone, no thoughts, just the night sky and your breathing. You didn't need answers, you didn't even need questions, you just needed to be. And in that moment, you were whole. Maybe that is the universal language. Not signals, not syllables, but awareness. You drift deeper, the edge of sleep tracing your thoughts like a finger across soft sand. And new visions arrive. Worlds with trees that blink, rivers that hum, life that doesn't take form, but feeling. A planet where dreams aren't a pause from life, but the point of it. Aliens might not be out there in ships. They might be inside the very concept of other. Not carbon, not flesh, not even bound by time. Some scientists whisper about life embedded in the structure of dark matter. Entire civilizations swirling invisibly through our universe. Undetectable, unimaginable, but very much real. You can't prove it, but your bones believe it. It's wild, it's wonderful, it's bedtime. You yawn, not from boredom, but from expansion. Because your mind just stretched across galaxies, and maybe, just maybe, that's contact. Maybe dreaming is a kind of cosmic handshake. No ships, no words, and just wonder. And tonight, you're wide open. Sleep begins to slip around you like a mist, but something within remains awake, not alert, just aware. You're floating in a space that's not entirely yours. It smells like memory, feels like electricity wearing silk gloves. You're still thinking about aliens, but now, differently. Less like visitors, more like echoes. What if we're the latecomers? Imagine it. Life scattered across the universe like stardust, long before Earth ever cooled. Civilizations that rose and fell before our sun even ignited. Cities of light built on the backs of comets. Empires written into magnetic fields. Entire histories blooming and vanishing in wavelengths our eyes can't see. And maybe, just maybe, we are the fossils, the delayed signal, the afterglow, the whisper left behind after a cosmic song ended. You press your head a little deeper into the pillow. Your brain feels slow, viscous, like honey thinking. But that's when the ideas get really good. Because what if aliens didn't just look different? What if they think differently? We imagine intelligence as mirrors of ourselves, thought, language, structure. But what if thought isn't linear? Some creatures on Earth already defy our model. Octopuses, for example. Their neurons aren't just in their heads, they think with their arms. How would diplomacy work with a species that feels truth through texture? That writes philosophy in movement? It's delightful, and just a little dizzying. You let yourself fall sideways into the idea. A universe full of minds shaped by different physics, born in different atmospheres, communicating through scent, or shape, or magnetic pulse. One might speak by arranging clouds, another might remember through colour gradients on its skin. And here we are, pointing satellites at the stars, hoping for a ping. It's a little like yelling across a forest, hoping the trees will respond. But what if they are? In a language of rings, of growth, of stillness. You smile, not because you understand, but because you've stopped needing to. Sleep is close now. But there's one more thought, nudging gently against your awareness. What if we already met them? What if they passed through Earth before we had ears to hear, or minds to comprehend? What if they left signs we misread as weather, or coincidence, or ancient myth? Some archaeologists, fringe ones sure, believe alien contact could be encoded in old symbols. Swirls, spirals, shapes carved into stone that predate written language. Most scientists disagree, but isn't it fun to wonder, not to believe blindly, just to consider? Because curiosity is the bridge between what is and what could be. And tonight, that bridge is yours to walk. Softly, slowly. You trace a spiral on your bedsheet with your fingertip. Not looking for meaning, just feeling for rhythm. And somewhere in the quiet, the cosmos hums. You drift deeper now, not away from the stars but into them. It's not space you're imagining, not the black velvet sky punctured by fire, but what it feels like to live in a galaxy, to float within it, cradled by physics and possibility. Have you ever thought about how small we are? Not in a hopeless way, in a sacred way. Earth isn't just a planet, it's a warm speck tucked into a spiral arm of a rotating galaxy, itself adrift in a cluster of other galaxies, each holding billions of suns. And that's just the part we can see. Your breath slows, your chest rises, then falls like a tide, and suddenly your entire body feels like it's suspended in that darkness, not lost, but gently placed. Some scientists call this the overview effect, a shift in consciousness reported by astronauts when they see Earth from orbit. They look back and something changes. Borders vanish. Ego melts. They feel, perhaps for the first time, like they truly belong to something infinite. You don't need a rocket ship to feel that. You just need the quiet, the dark, the willingness to wonder. Because even now in your room, beneath your blanket, a thought is forming. Maybe aliens aren't out there waiting to be found. Maybe they are watching, not with eyes and not with judgment, but with curiosity. Imagine a being that has watched Earth for thousands of years, not to conquer, but to study, to learn how a blue planet full of music and arguments and tea kettles and poetry does what it does. Would we seem primitive or precious? It's funny how often we think of aliens as invaders. Why not as listeners, observers? After all, we're the ones sending signals into space, golden records with whale sounds and bark, radio waves bouncing endlessly into the void. We act like children sending paper boats downstream, hoping someone, anyone, finds them on the other side. You shift slightly, the blanket rustles, time thickens again, and suddenly you imagine this. An alien civilization receives our signals, but they don't respond. Not out of malice, not because we're unworthy, but because they know how fragile we are. Not because we're unworthy, but because they know how fragile we are. They wait for us to mature, to unify, to stop burning each other's libraries and forests. Because maybe real intelligence isn't measured in technology. Maybe it's measured in kindness, in restraint, in how gently we treat the world we've been given. Your thoughts slow, the room tilts, not physically, but emotionally. It feels like falling upward, like rising slowly through syrup. And as your eyes flutter closed, one last vision slips in. A creature, tall, luminous, shaped like light filtered through water, sitting alone on a distant moon, listening. To us, not to our wars, but to our laughter, our lullabies, our awkward teenage poems. They hum softly, not because they're superior, but because they remember being young once too. And tonight in their memory we are beautiful. You're somewhere else now, not just in space and not exactly in time. You're floating through the idea of distance, the strange fact that the farther away something is, the older it becomes. That star you saw, it might not even exist anymore. It could have burned out before the pyramids were built, but the light only just reached your eye. It's like looking through a time machine made of photons. Isn't that beautiful? A star could be long gone, but its last breath, a glowing whisper, still travels the dark to meet you. You turn slowly, as if suspended. The room is gone now. You're drifting among glittering debris, bits of light, pulses of memory, the soft static of creation still echoing through the cosmos. And then something closer calls your attention. Not a star, not a planet, a cell, because even though your mind has wandered light years away, your body hasn't moved. It lies here, calmly breathing, performing miracles without asking for applause. Inside you are trillions of living things. Cells, atoms, processes, each one older than you, many older than Earth itself. The iron in your blood was forged in exploding stars. The calcium in your bones once floated through ancient oceans. You are quite literally made of stardust. And stardust doesn't rush, it doesn't panic, and it simply is. Have you ever thanked your body for continuing while your mind wanders? You should, because it's working tonight, repairing cells, storing memories, balancing hormones. While you drift through dreams of faraway galaxies, your body is trimming damaged DNA, filing away laughter, flushing toxins, regulating temperature. It's the ultimate quiet coworker. Never complains, never interrupts, just keeps you going. Scientists still debate whether consciousness arises from the body, or if the body is a vessel for something deeper, stranger, and emergent phenomenons of the universe trying to observe itself. Either way, the fact that you can feel wonder is a miracle worth whispering about. And you do, not with words, but with stillness. You feel the hush of your heartbeat, the rhythm of your breath. And for a moment it's enough, not to understand everything, but to be okay not knowing. Because maybe not knowing is the beginning of awe, and awe is what the universe has been whispering about all along. You don't know when you crossed the line, between the thinking and the dreaming, but you did. Somewhere in the quiet, between the soft clicks of your joints and the subtle thump of your pulse, your thoughts began to drift apart like dandelion seeds. And now you're walking through a forest that never existed. But somehow, you remember it. The trees here are tall, impossibly tall, but not threatening. They hum like tuning forks, their bark is smooth like river stones, and their leaves fall upward, not down. You laugh just a little, a dream laugh, the kind that feels like exhaling with delight. You touch a leaf, it flutters through your hand like fog. It doesn't resist, doesn't care. That's the magic of dreams. Nothing fights you because everything is you. The path ahead glows faintly, lit by moss or the memory. You're not sure which. And the deeper you walk, the more you sense it. This forest is made from the echo of your own biology. Yes, that rustling in the branches, neurons firing, that shimmer in the undergrowth, melatonin blooming, that slow ripple beneath your feet, the lymphatic tide washing your brain. Did you know, during deep sleep, your brain physically shrinks just slightly to allow cerebrospinal fluid to flush through and clear away cellular debris? You're literally cleansing your thoughts. The forest shifts. You're now on a hill, not high, but high enough to see other hills, rolling, drowsy landscapes, as if your subconscious had spent the afternoon painting every remembered field from your childhood into one quiet panorama. You lie down on the hill. Of course you do. The grass is soft, the air tastes like chamomile, and for a moment you forget whether you're remembering a dream or dreaming a memory. Either way, it feels like healing. It's hard to explain this space, not awake, not asleep, but somewhere sideways, somewhere the brain doesn't map. Some scientists call it hypnagogia, the in-between, where strange images flash and voices mutter nonsense just before sleep pulls the curtain. But you don't name it, you just be in it. You stretch one leg, you sigh without meaning to, you feel your own weight like a welcome hug. And the forest, this forest of your own quiet design, seems to nod in approval. It's not just imagination, it's repair, it's integration. It's the mind composting the day and growing something softer in its place. You don't rush, there's nowhere to rush to, and as a breeze passes through the glowing branches, it carries a whisper. You are not broken, you are becoming. You smile, not with your lips, but with your breath, and the forest breathes back. You don't remember falling asleep, not fully, not officially, but here you are floating. It's not like flying, it's more like being held, supported by something vast, something invisible and ancient, like time itself has become a hammock. You drift. Above you there's a sky with no stars, just a soft, shifting canvas, indigo, velvet, alive. Beneath you, a sea, but not of water, a sea of memory. It's rippling with flashes, the face of a friend, the shape of a door, the sound of laughter in a hallway you haven't walked in years. These aren't dreams, not quite. There are fragments. Did you know your brain replays and strengthens memories while you sleep? Tiny electrical pulses zigzag through your hippocampus, rehearsing what to keep and what to let go. It's like your mind is Marie Kondoing your soul. You smile at that, because somewhere in your depths you know it's true. You see a book float by, a book you never wrote but somehow recognize. You reach for it, but your hand passes through. This is the theatre of the subconscious, and the curtain is always made of mist. You pass floating islands of images, some funny, some strange, a dinosaur wearing glasses, a staircase made of spoons, a window that looks out over your 5th birthday. You don't question it. Here, logic takes a back seat and wonder takes the wheel. You drift past a memory you'd forgotten, your first sleepover, lying in a sleeping bag, staring at a popcorn ceiling, wondering why other people's houses smell different. The smell is here too, that faint mix of laundry and someone else's shampoo. You smile again. It's gentle, this remembering. Not like a sharp recollection, but like walking into a room and feeling that someone you loved was just there. It's emotional architecture, and your brain is both the builder and the guest. Now a question drifts through you. What do you really dream about when you're not trying to control the dream? Not the flying or the falling, but the quiet stuff. The colours, the faces without names. The places that don't exist but feel more familiar than your own home. The brain has no limits here. In REM sleep, your brain is almost as active as when you're awake, and yet it's unfiltered, unbound, unpredictable. You think of someone you miss. They appear. Not perfectly, not clearly, but their presence arrives like scent on a breeze. It's comforting, it's unfinished. And that's okay. This isn't a movie. It's a mural being painted and repainted in real time by hands that don't need to be seen. You don't try to interpret anything, not yet. Tonight is not for solving. Tonight is for soaking. So you soak in sensation, in feeling, in the soup of self that bubbles quietly beneath your waking mind. You pass a floating clock with no hands, a metaphor perhaps, or just a dream, and the sea beneath you sighs, not from tides, but from the gentle settling of everything you didn't have time to process today. Your subconscious is doing the laundry, sorting socks of meaning from shirts of sensation. You simply float. You let go. You become the letting go. And just before the scene fades, before your breath becomes deeper and the dream world grows thicker, you hear one soft sound, a single heartbeat. Yours. Proof that you're still here, even in this world made of vapor and flickers. Still here, still healing, still dreaming. The moment blurs. You're not sure if you're still in the dream or inside the space just after dreaming. That hush where nothing has form, but everything has meaning. Your breath slow now, steady. You float, or perhaps you're sinking, but there's no fear in either. This, you realize, is where your health begins, not in the pills, not in the workouts, not in the checkups, but here, in the dark. Deep sleep is not absence, it's alchemy. A quiet forge where your cells are repaired, your tissues soothed, your memory rewoven like silk. You remember nothing of it. And that's how you know it's working. It's easy to forget that healing isn't something you do. It's something you allow. Right now, tiny janitor cells called microglia are sweeping through your brain, eating dead neurons, mopping up excess synapses like spilled thoughts. Your spine releases pressure. Your muscles soften into the mattress like butter melting across warm toast. Even your heart rate has joined the lullaby. There's a rhythm to this healing. It's not a beat. It's a wave, one that rises and falls, not with the ocean, but with your breath. Did you know that during deep sleep, your brain's waste removal system, the glymphatic system, becomes 60% more active? Imagine a cleaning crew tiptoeing through your mind with little glowing mops, sweeping away debris from every anxious worry and overused idea. You don't feel it, but you become it. You are the healing process now. The dark is no longer just the absence of light. It's the presence of rest. The cathedral of regeneration. There's a softness to everything now. Even time, which once felt sharp and linear, now feels like silk slipping through your fingers. You remember something? A study once showed that people deprived of sleep for too long begin to hallucinate. Not just because they're tired, but because without sleep the brain can't clean itself. Imagine if your thoughts were dishes. How long could you go without washing them before the sink overflowed? Tonight, nothing overflows, everything is washed. Your immune system is dialing up its defenses. Growth hormone is being released in gentle pulses. Even your bones are regenerating, quietly adding microscopic layers of strength beneath the surface. There's a term, anabolic state. It means your body is in the business of rebuilding. And where does it happen? In the dark. In this space where your thoughts no longer carry the burden of meaning. Where your consciousness is the guest, not the host. You roll slightly, not a movement really, more of a sigh with bones. The blanket shifts, and the world agrees to keep healing while you do nothing at all. Some scientists still don't understand exactly why we need sleep. It's still debated. If evolution is so ruthlessly efficient, why didn't it eliminate a state where we're unconscious and vulnerable for hours? Maybe because this isn't wasted time. Maybe it's the most essential time of all. Your subconscious smiles at the irony. In a world obsessed with productivity, sleep is the only place where doing nothing is doing everything. You're not lazy. You're lunar-powered. You feel the echo of every creature that ever slept. Mammals in burrows, birds on branches, whales drifting in the ocean's twilight zone. They too gave themselves to the dark and woke up whole. You hear something now, not a voice but a sensation, like being called by name in a language older than words. It tells you to stay, rest. You are safe, you are becoming, and so you do. You stay, you drift, you surrender. And in that surrender, your body becomes an orchestra of restoration. Each cell humming its part, each system tuning itself by moonlight. The night is doing its job, and you are the masterpiece it's polishing in silence. You don't know how long it's been, but something inside you is different, not louder, not clearer, just more settled. Your body hums like a lantern with no flame, warm and steady. And in the invisible background, your health continues to unfold like a story written in darkness. One sentence per breath. You're not alone in this rhythm. Every creature that sleeps joins the same symphony. Some in burrows, some in nests, some floating through oceans like dreaming leaves. Did you know that dolphins let one half of their brain sleep at a time, so they can surface for air even while dreaming? The dark is never still. It's alive. It adapts. And your body, it listens. You shift again, this time more deeply. Not your muscles, your chemistry. Hormones align, blood sugars stabilize, your body enters a hormonal harmony that daylight can't compose. This is where hunger and satiety recalibrate, where cortisol steps down, where leptin whispers, "You're full," and ghrelin murmurs, "You don't need more right now." Sleep doesn't just restore your energy, it repairs your instincts. That's why a tired mind craves junk food. It's not weak, it's confused. Exhaustion scrambles the signals, but in the dark those signals untangle. It's funny, isn't it? That doing nothing teaches your body how to feel again. And not just physically, emotionally too. During REM sleep, your brain revisits memories, not to replay them, but to reframe them. It sifts through the day's emotions like a gentle librarian. This one's important. This one's safe to forget. This one still needs processing. Have you ever gone to bed angry and woken up calm? That wasn't time healing you. It was your dreams re-editing the script. In fact, scientists think that REM sleep is the only time your brain disconnects emotion from memory. So when people say sleep on it, they mean let your mind metabolize the moment. Right now, your neurons are doing just that, quietly, kindly, snipping the threads that don't serve you anymore. You sigh again, not from tiredness now, but from release. Grief shrinks, regret thins, anxiety gets rocked into a slower rhythm. You may not remember your dreams tonight, but they remember you, because this isn't just maintenance. This is meaning. Your body doesn't just sleep, it transforms, from the immune system sharpening its tools to the brainwashing itself in cerebrospinal fluid like a tide lapping through a cave. Everything is in flow. Even your bones, yes, bones, contain clocks. Tiny circadian gears that spin in sync with sunlight, adjusting how they grow and break down. Every part of you knows when it's dark, and every part of you responds with the same answer: it's time. Not to perform, not to hustle, but to heal. You are healing right now, not by trying, but by trusting. And in this sacred trust, the dark becomes more than a place. It becomes a process, a hidden temple beneath your waking life. The ancients knew this. Why do you think they built sleep rituals into every spiritual tradition? The quiet prayer, the incense, the story before bed. They weren't superstition, they were preparation. For this, for surrendering to the night not as a threat, but as a gift. The dark isn't empty, it's full of you, full of potential, of repair, of realignment, and most of all, of rest. You settle again, this time with your whole being, as if gravity itself has softened into a cradle. No urgency, no clocks, just a hum. Just the earth holding you, teaching you without words what health really means. And in this moment, you don't just sleep. You remember what it feels like to belong in your own body. Your pulse is soft now, slower, more spaced out. You're no longer lying on your bed, you're suspended in it, like an astronaut cradled by invisible threads of gravity and quiet. And somewhere in the slow spin of your inner universe, your body is performing a symphony of restoration. Your liver, that silent chemist, is filtering, sorting, cataloguing everything you've consumed. Your kidneys are adjusting the tides of salt and water, like engineers managing a dam. Even your skin, the outermost map of you, is busy patching tiny tears and renewing its glow, one cell at a time. All of it happening in the dark. This, you realise, is the real work of health. Not at the gym, not in the kitchen, but here, now. Did you know that sleep deprivation can mimic aging? Miss enough rest, and your body begins to behave as if it's years older. Your reaction time slows, your memory fragments. Your emotions fray at the edges, and yet just one night of deep sleep can reverse so much of that erosion. Sleep isn't passive, it's corrective. You don't sleep because you're lazy, you sleep because you're alive. Your ancestors millions of years ago knew this without language. They nested in caves, in trees, in darkness they couldn't control. And still, they closed their eyes. Even when predators roamed, even when fire flickered uncertainly, even when the night was full of unknowns. Why? Because without sleep the body fractures, the brain fragments, the soul, whatever it is, drifts too far without a tether. And you found that tether again. Each breath deepens like a well-drawing water. You're not escaping, you're anchoring. Anchoring to the part of yourself that doesn't need schedules or screens or second opinions. Just rhythm and just warmth, just stillness. It's amazing how much healing happens in the absence of doing. No pills, no affirmations, and just dark and trust. There's a soft irony to it all. In the modern world, you have to schedule your healing. Mark a calendar for rest, set an alarm to tell you when to turn off. Download apps that play raindrops or whale songs, because silence is now a feature. But your biology never stopped remembering. It still responds to the dark as a signal, not a threat, but a welcome. And the moment you let go of timelines of tension of thought itself, it responds in kind. Muscles melt. Organs shift into quiet efficiency. Your mind wanders less. You start to notice the space between thoughts, and in those spaces, sleep begins to weave a new story, one you don't have to write, just listen to. Somewhere inside, melatonin keeps rising, your core body temperature dips. Your sympathetic nervous system, the one that tells you to go, finally shuts the door and leaves, and parasympathetic peace takes over. You're in rest and digest territory now, the kingdom of calm. You don't need to prove anything here. You're already enough if you're already in. This moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this is the therapy you've been looking for. No revelations needed, just relief. You are whole, even when asleep, and especially then. Somewhere inside this velvet hush, your brain begins to clean itself. No, not in the way you'd scrub a dish or sweep a floor. It's quieter, stranger, more miraculous. There's a system, rarely spoken of in everyday conversation, called the glymphatic system. Doesn't work well when you're awake, but when you sleep, it becomes a custodial ballet. Imagine tiny rivers opening in your brain tissue, flowing between the neurons, flushing out the cellular waste that built up during your day of thinking, worrying, wondering, multitasking. It's like your brain is a concert hall that only cleans up after the final note. You don't feel it happening, but you wake up lighter, sharper, as if someone, something reset the operating system. Did you know one of the toxic proteins the glymphatic system clears out is called beta amyloid? It's linked to Alzheimer's, and yet every night you truly rest, your brain gently hoses it away. Not because you asked it to, but because that's what night is for. This is why deep sleep is not just rest, it's resilience, and resilience is health. All the smoothies and supplements in the world can't replace what your brain does in the dark. You drift now, past the threshold of conscious thought, into the land of strange logic and vivid symbols. The place where dreams bloom, not as distractions, but as conversations. Because while your body heals, your mind replays, rearranges, rehearses. It's memory maintenance, but it wears a surreal costume. You see a friend from childhood on a train made of feathers. You walk into a hallway that turns into an ocean. You hear music that doesn't exist, but feels like it always has. That's not nonsense, it's you metabolizing emotion, processing experience, tidying up the psychic house so tomorrow feels a little less heavy. Even nightmares are a form of psychological filing. Stressors labelled and sorted, threats rehearsed in safe simulation, fears softened by the blur of narrative. The brain is a theatre and a therapist, and darkness is its canvas. You twitch slightly, a fingertip, a toe. It's a good sign. Your REM cycles are underway. Did you know, during REM sleep, your brain is nearly as active as it is when awake? It's just turned inward. Creative centres light up, problem-solving pathways flare. Your muscles, meanwhile, are paralysed for your own safety. A biological gift that lets you run in your dreams without running into a wall. Everything is working, even when nothing looks like it is. And here's the quiet genius of it all. This isn't a spa. It's not indulgence. It's not laziness. This is maintenance. This is survival. This is the kind of productivity that capitalism forgot. And you're doing it right. You're safe. You're in the process of becoming whole again. There's something sacred about that. Somewhere beyond thought, beyond dream, you float. And here the dark reveals its truest gift, restoration without reason. You don't need to earn this. You don't need to understand it. You simply need to be. Out beyond logic, the cells of your body are repairing. Your immune system is tuning itself like an orchestra before dawn. White blood cells roam with quiet vigilance, tracking, tagging, neutralizing. Muscle fibers knit themselves. Skin regenerates. Hormones recalibrate. And all of this is happening while you feel like nothing is happening. But it is. This is your body's backstage. It's its unseen brilliance. Its refusal to rest while you rest. Did you know? Some scientists believe the body only truly heals in the absence of light. That darkness itself may trigger ancient biological rhythms, ones we still barely understand. Think of deep caves where time doesn't exist, where fish have no eyes yet survive, where fungi glow gently in perpetual night, where evolution whispered, you don't need the sun to adapt, you need stillness. And that same quiet code is in you, in your mitochondria, in the clocks tucked into your organs, in the lullabies etched into your DNA by 1,000 ancestors who survived the night. Sleep then is not a pause, it's a pulse, a rhythm, a return, a ritual. You dream now of water, cool, dark and slow-moving. A stream that knows its shape not by rushing, but by winding. Your thoughts float like fallen leaves, drifting toward nowhere in particular. And that's perfect, because your brain in this moment has no destination. It's not solving, it's not striving, it's simply sensing. The thrum of the bloodstream, the tide of breath, the cradle of slowness. Time itself feels different here. Less like a line, more like a pond. Still, reflective, gentle, and inside it, your reflection isn't your face, it's your being. That wordless core that doesn't need to prove or fix or achieve. Just rest, just be. This is what the body remembers when the world forgets. That healing isn't loud, it doesn't arrive in sirens or declarations. It's soft, subterranean, consistent. A whisper of a cell doing its job, a blink of cortisol levelling out, a single heartbeat, unburdened by urgency. You shift slightly and the covers rustle, and in that small movement billions of neurons recalibrate. A cascade of balance. You might never feel it directly, but that doesn't make it less real. In fact, the most vital things are often the ones we can't feel. Oxygen, time, trust, sleep. You don't have to try, you don't have to think, you don't even have to finish this sentence awake. Your body has waited all day for this. Let it happen. Imagine this, your body, a quiet cathedral. Every breath a candle flickering softly. Every beat of your heart a bell echoing through a warm stone. There are no sermons here, no obligations, just the sacredness of rest. Tonight the mystery isn't what your body does while you sleep. It's what it stops doing. It stops anticipating, stops calculating, stops trying to hold the world in its hands. Instead, it opens. And in that openness, healing flows in, like moonlight through stained glass. You are now deep in the architecture of rest, deeper than dreams, deeper than language. And this is the place where the self, that ever-chattering voice, lets go of the wheel. Did you know during the deep sleep the brain's glymphatic system activates, flushing out toxins, processing cellular debris, clearing away the clutter of consciousness? is like night janitors cleaning a theatre after the last show. Seats are straightened, stage lights are dimmed, programs are gathered from the aisles, and your mind, once so busy, becomes a freshly swept stage, ready for a new day. There's a poetic irony here. You spend your waking life doing, yet it's in not doing that your body thrives. You chase goals, but it's in stillness that you grow. Your muscles aren't built in the gym, they're built in the silence after. Your memories aren't stored while learning, but while you forget. The darkness isn't just an absence of light. It's the presence of something older than sight. You feel it now, don't you? That slow unfolding of awareness into something wider. Something weightless. A body no longer confined by effort. A mind unspooling into velvet silence. You drift further, and thoughts become sensations. Sensations become colours. Colours become hums. And the hums, they become you. Somewhere in this deep and ancient stillness, your health isn't being fixed, it's being remembered. Like a song your cells used to sing long ago, a lullaby etched in DNA, one that goes, you are safe, you are home, you are whole. Even as you dissolve into the rhythm of the dark, you know deep in your mitochondria that this is not an ending. It's a renewal, a reset, a sacred return to balance. Sleep isn't what happens after life, it's what sustains it. And now, with every soft breath, you return, not to where you were, but to where you've always belonged. To the quiet, to the dark, to the rhythm of life, invisible but essential. And now, let everything soften. No more learning, no more wondering, no more holding on to the edges of the day. The night has you now. The thoughts you once chased begin to wander off without you, like birds into a velvet dusk. Your breath slow and syrupy, your limbs warm and weightless. Even your name seems quieter now. There's nothing left to figure out. No timelines to follow, no tasks left untouched. Only at this moment, this silence, this gentle gravity of sleep pulls you inward like the tide. The dark isn't empty, it's full. Full of restoration, full of memory being sorted and stitched, full of whispers from your cells that say, thank you. We'll take it from here. Tonight let your body be ancient again. Let it return to the rhythm it knew before clocks, before screens, before stress. Just breath and quiet, just warmth and space. Sleep isn't the opposite of life. It's the place where life reclaims its depth. So go ahead. Sink deeper. You're safe. You're carried. You're exactly where you need to be. Let the stillness wrap around you like a favourite blanket. Let the soft dark be your companion. And as your mind drifts beyond even this voice, let the final thought be a gentle one. You are more than enough, exactly as you are, in the dark, at rest.